All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Board of Adjustments January 25th, 2011 meeting. Calling the meeting to order. First, a roll call of members. My name is Brad Walker, Chairman. I'm present. Jim Cecil, Vice President, Chairman.
Present.
Ms. Kathy Desideer.
Present.
Mr. Tyler Glue is absent. Mr. Bill Lee.
Present.
Mr. Stephen McGowan's absent. Mr. Paul Johnson.
Present.
Okay. Before we proceed with our election of chairman and vice chairman, I just want to make one announcement to the audience. Zoning review ID 2126.10 Lot A-4 for John Griffin has been removed by the applicant, so we will not hear that tonight. So if you're here for that variance, it has been removed and we will not hear it tonight. They pulled it themselves. The applicant pulled the application.
No.
No. This is on Butch Gore Road. So, all right. I'll now open up nominations for the election of chairman. Do I hear any nominations for chairman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Mr. Brad Walker, which is you, as chairman for 2011.
I'll second that.
All right. Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. I guess I'm chairman again. At least it's just a year sentence and not a life sentence. All right, next open to nominations for election of vice chairman. Do I hear any nominations for vice chairman?
I make a motion that we keep Jim Cecil in as vice chairman.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that too.
Any other nominations for vice chairman? All right, nomination closed. Congratulations, Jim. You're vice chairman again.
Can't seem to get rid of that position.
All right, at this time, we're going to open up the floor for public comment period. If you'd like to say something about the board itself or anything going on, feel free to come up and talk about it. If you need to talk about something that's actually what we're reviewing tonight, please save those for those reviewing IDs. Anybody in the audience? All right, closing public comment period. All right, do I have a motion for the acceptance of the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion to accept the written decisions of December 28, 2010.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right. We have a zoning review ID 2123.10, Lot 82 at Meadow Ridge subdivision for Michael A. Jetty. This is being reheard from last month. Just need to make the board aware of this. Due to the fact that one of the neighbors of this adjacent property owners did not get notified, and the parish could not prove that a notification was sent. So due to that, we just decided that we were going to rehear it now at this time. But at first, I'd like to make it aware to make sure that everybody has been notified. You have the cards for notification?
Yes, sir.
Can you bring those up? What I'd like to do is get a consensus from the board that there is enough justification to proceed on redo this one, and that proper notification was sent. The person that was claiming was Joe and Vicky Touye. And you'll show that the receipts were sent. We have not received back a certified, we have not received back the certified notification that was signed for it. So they did a tracking, and the tracking number does show back that they were attempted to deliver on January 12, 2011 at 12:12 p.m. And a notification was left in their mailbox, and it has not been picked up yet, but they were notified. So if you'd like to take a look at this, pass it around.
We'll keep these all in. Let's just repeat.
And the staff has rechecked on every adjacent one for this piece of property. It has been notified.
And the signs were placed.
And the signs were placed.
Counsel, can I ask you a question? Just clear it up for me. If a person was sent a certified piece of mail and they refused or did not pick up this piece of mail, does that make them liable for them to make sure that she picks up the mail or he picks up the mail?
As long as you have proof that it was sent, that's adequate under the ordinance.
Under the ordinance?
For the notice requirements, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are all board members satisfied there was notification?
I am.
Okay, let's proceed with this. Is Mr. Michael Jetty, I'm going to read the zoning review again. Zoning review ID 2123.10, Lot 82 of Meadow Ridge subdivision for Michael A. Jetty, located on the west side of Karen Drive, approximately 330 feet north of Meadow Ridge Avenue. Is the applicant here tonight?
Mr. Jetty.
Okay, you want to come in and we got to explain to us what you're trying to do, please.
Good evening and Happy New Year, everybody. We've already done this once before, and I'd like to say thank you for your last ruling, short-lived as it was. 3 years have passed before a complaint was raised over my shed. We all lived in peace for years before the shed was built, and for 3 years after it was built. For the life of me, I can't think of what I've done to these neighbors to warrant all of this attention. It seems very personal on their part. My wife and I get along fine with all of our other neighbors, and then all of a sudden there's this problem. I don't have horns and a tail, you know. None of this situation really adds up to me, certainly not the timeline 3 years later. I was told by the complainant that they mentioned that they couldn't sell their house because of the shed being there. A simple internet search has no listing of their house being up for sale right now, although if they're selling it themselves, it wouldn't necessarily come up. There are a couple of houses where the internet search brings up their house, the photograph and everything, it's for sale. There are a couple of houses in the neighborhood that are being sold by owners, and they have prominently placed signs, for sale by owner, grab box, you know, take some information. The complainant's house has none of these. Now, having said that, maybe they're selling their home, maybe they're not. I don't know. Maybe this is a device to show hardship for their argument. Again, I don't know. But it seems to me that having problems selling your house, it might be more a factor of the general soft economy right now than my shed. I was told that my shed is an eyesore. Those prefab metal sheds are an eyesore. They eventually dent and rust, but I suppose I could put one of those back there if that's what's necessary. The exterior of the shed is cement hardy board, if you're familiar with that type of siding. It has 6x3 windows, which are pretty standard on most houses, and it has architectural shingles on the top. These are the exact materials that most every home in the neighborhood are finished with. The shed conforms completely with building material standards of the area and the neighborhood. And it's not painted a garish color. It's painted the same color as my house, which is white. At the last hearing, the board mentioned that the shed looked nice with the siding and the shingles, better than the tin prefab types. I agree, thank you. I do agree with that. The board also mentioned that has already allowed very similar variances in the area. A simple drive through my neighborhood and adjacent neighborhoods, there's more than one house with very similar setups. So I don't think I'm the only person who wants to do this. I've had that yellow sign in my front yard for 20 days total now. Having people stop and point at my house is getting very embarrassing. I'm kind of tired of eating Zantac out of a candy dish. All of my neighbors that were here the first time are back tonight on my behalf. Thank you for your friendship and your time. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Brock and his office for their professionalism and courtesy. He's a good man and helped me through this greatly. I'm a little stressed out about this, as you can imagine. Now, in closing, I know this is taking a while, but I'm here twice, so if you'll just bear with me, I will wrap this up. Naturally, being back here a second time after this matter has already been ruled on is disturbing. It kind of rubs me the wrong way, but so be it. It's better to have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, okay? I get that. I, just like everybody else in here, I have all the pressure I can stand keeping my bills paid and keeping my business running. I don't need this in the mix as well. This has gone on for a while. It was never my intention to harm any of my neighbors. That's why I built it the way I built it. Having said that, I'm still a reasonable man. And that's what I think we all hope for when dealing with people, be reasonable. I don't want to remove any of my shed at this point. The board has granted me a variance already. If I must remove some of my shed, I ask you and Mr. Brock's office for an 8-foot variance, plus 3 months to do the work and time to find a temporary home for my belongings in the shed. Finally, if the worst case happens tonight, I will rebuild the shed in a different direction after taking out the tree that's in the area. This is my home, and I will enjoy the fruits of my hard work. I work very hard. I work 65, 70, 75 hours a week in my business. I'm not going to go through my life not enjoying the things that I want to enjoy. Obviously, they have to be done within the codes and the laws. I understand that, and I have respect for that. I'll make up any square footage in a way that is acceptable to Mr. Brock's office, and I'm going to continue to play cards with my friends and pursue my hobbies in that getaway spot, my shed. Also, the parish should be reasonably happy because they're getting more property taxes from me because the shed's on my property. I really want all this behind me. I don't want any more animosity between myself and the complainants. I never set up to do that, and I think I have some neighbors that may want to speak as well. Thank you all for your time a second time, and that's it. Good night.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman,
Question?
can I ask him a question? Is there a for sale sign? First of all, is a complaint here? Complainant's here? Okay, that I'll bring up with you. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from Scott? Okay. At this time, I'm opening for public hearing. If you'd like to comment on this, please come up to the front, sign in here, and state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Vicki Tuyat. We did not receive anything in the mail. If I would have went and got it because I'd have wanted to know what it was. But nevertheless, I did see the thing in his front yard this morning, which was the second day that it's been there. You can even ask the bus driver. Excuse me. Okay, my husband is not here with me this evening because he is in Houston, LaPorte, Texas. If you want to see proof of that, I have that through Turner Industries, that he's on business. Okay. I have, first I would like the Board of Adjustment to accept the photos that we have taken from our driveway from our residents. Would you like to look at those?
You can put them right there.
Excuse me.
That little silver thing right
So
there?
you can see them
Right
on the
here?
screen.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. This is from our backyard. That's what we look at.
Yeah,
Yeah, just flip
Yeah.
it. There you go.
just turn them around.
Yeah,
No, all
There
the
you go.
way.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
There you go.
All right.
Got you?
Okay.
All right, that's what we look at when we come out our back door. Okay, that's one. This is one. Do you see that? Okay, do you see next to, that's our fence there that we just put up, a new fence. He was very rude about that. He wouldn't clean up nor help. You can see all the green where just from the bushes get green. That's what we have to look at when we go in our backyard to have coffee. And you can ask Mr. Jetty, we have a very nice backyard. So does he. But however, he does not have to see this greenery and mildew when he has his coffee on his back porch. This is another picture that we made. I mean, it's just, no matter which way you go in our small backyard, this is all you see. This is another view. This is another view of his so-called nice. This building is at least 10 foot tall. This is clean. He's keeping it clean for our sake. The other man, he does not care about his yard. It's just trashy yard, which it's just green mush, just mildew galore. This is a closer look at it. This is another look at it. Another look at it. By the way, he had no permit to build this building. We did talk with him 3 years ago. My husband was in St. Croix, the Virgin Islands, working. I looked at it and listened to that hammering every weekend and every time he was out in that yard. And I asked him, was there ever anything? And he always assured me there was. But there was not. And Mr. Brock said there wasn't. The building is an eyesore that we look at each day. The building will reduce the number of potential buyers, which we are looking for buyers of this home. We do not have it up for sale. We are trying to sell it ourselves. All possible will reduce the value of this house. We have had real estate people tell us this is making our real estate go down. The building was built off of the ground, and we are concerned about rodents, snakes, and general upkeep of the space between the fence and the building. When we tore down the old fence, it was the biggest mess you've ever seen. I asked Mr. Jetty to please help me clean it up and to keep the bushes away from my fence, and he did nothing but curse me, and I finally got in my car and I left. And that's when I decided it's just over. We'll just go through the courts. The building is entirely too close to the neighbors to the south. Again, this is an eyesore. He can say that it enhances his property all he wants. This is a terrible enhancement to us and to our yard. We've lived there for 10 years. We enjoy the house. We're ready to move on. We've just got custody of our 12-year-old grandson. When we made out these papers and started talking to Mr. Lance Brock back in May, it's taken this long, and we did not know about the meeting in November. We did not know that we'd be raising our grandson. So we will be here for another 6 to 7 years to see him at least in 2 years of college.
Ma'am, your 3 minutes are up. Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Fink?
I do. Why did you contact building and zoning back 3 years ago when it initially was being built?
He said he had his permits. If he had his permits, why should we ask anything?
Well,
My husband, like I said, was in St. Croix, the Virgin Islands. He did not come home for 1 year. I went there 3 times. It's the only times I went there,
okay, you went where 3 times?
the Virgin Islands, to see my
Oh, okay.
husband.
I guess I'm just misunderstanding why what brought it to May last year to decide to go and see for sure if there were permits?
Because when we tore the fence down to put
Oh,
the
that's when you
fence-
tore the fence
we
down?
tore the fence down to put another fence up. It was the biggest mess back there, and trash. His yard was gorgeous, but where he couldn't see from his pretty yard all the trash that was stuck behind this building. It was just ridiculous. And then he was letting all the bushes go through our fence, pushing our fence back. And we didn't ask him to half this fence or nothing, we paid for the whole fence. And he cursed me to the point I got back in my car and just threw my hands up. That's the second time he's talked to me ugly. And I think he will tell you about the first time, because he's come over to my house and apologized after all this about cursing me. And the other time was about my puppies barking, my little Maltese puppies barking. Anyway, I went by exactly what he said. I thought he had permits. And then when we got to looking into it, when we saw all the trash and things and how big the building was going to be, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not on concrete, it's on where it can be moved. Why should it be so big? I mean, we do have ordinances in that subdivision, and this is way too close to our fence and the other fences.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right. I have no question for him.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next person.
Good evening. My name is Gail Jones. I live directly across from Michael Jetty and his wife. That sign was up from the moment you guys put it up. It was never taken down. I don't know what she's talking about. What I'm not understanding is why her personal opinion about a shed has any validation. I mean, and then again, number two, if you guys gave her gave him the green light in November, why are we even here? Because you just proved that she had received the card.
Well, she received the second time we sent it. The
Oh.
first time we did not have proof that it was sent. That's the only reason it's being reheard. Usually the question does come up and staff does present us with a card saying, look, it was sent, but the card was not found. And so legal and everybody decided that the best way to do it is to rehear it, since
Okay.
the parish could not prove that there was no sufficient notification. And so the second time it was sent out again to all the landowners adjacent, and then that one was received and that one was tracked. So
Okay,
that
well
one
then
was
my
received.
first question stands. Why is it her personal opinion that has any validation?
Well, I mean, we take everybody's opinion. You know, each board member.
Well, I'm not
takes
talking,
everybody's
I'm
opinion.
talking about her personal opinion of the appearance of the shed.
Right,
I just don't agree with it at all. I don't have a problem with the shed.
right. And that's what we try to do as a board is get everybody's opinions and make our decisions based off of what's being presented to us.
And in light of the fact that she waited so long, you know, it's a little late for that. And that's basically all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Jones. I live straight across the street from Michael Jetty. My wife, Gail, was just up here. Okay, I've seen the shed. Okay, I see nothing wrong with the shed. In fact, I think probably 90% of the people in the neighborhood have built on the servitude one way or the other. Okay, whether it be a fence or what have you, building it off the ground. There are people who have their sheds off the ground, several different people in the neighborhood, okay? Michael Jetty's been, I can't think of a better neighbor. I mean, he honest citizen that we all welcome in our neighborhood, so, and that's all I have to say. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Larry Walker. My wife and I, Fane, have lived next door to Eva and Michael for a little over 8 years. And I said this the last time, I couldn't find any better neighbors. I was there when Michael built, he called it a shed, I called it a building, because it's a very attractive building. It is not an eyesore. I get a little mildew on my house sometimes. You ever wash it with Clorox, it comes right off. But I thought the ruling, the last hearing we had, was fair and just, and I would like to see it go back just like it was, because I think that's a fair thing to do. If anybody should have a problem, it'd be me. Y'all saw the pictures the last time. Our driveways are about 2 feet apart, and I'm the closest one physically to the jetties. And the building wasn't a problem when it was built. It's not a problem to me now. And I don't want Michael to have to do anything to his building. I think it was correct what y'all did the last time. And some of the pictures that were shown were actually over in my yard. Those were my trees and my bushes. And I know she doesn't like my trees over her fence. She came over and asked me if she could cut some, and she cut them. And she doesn't really like the squirrels out of my yard getting on her house, but I'll let that go. But really, I just say, I think the judgment made last time was a correct thing for y'all to do. I'd like to see that repeated if you would. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Bob Harris. I live on the north side of Michael and Eva. Actually, the sign was delivered in my yard by mistake, but I took it and placed it in in Michael's yard. So I know it's been there for at least close to 2 weeks, and it's been up ever since because I actually put it there. Michael, as others have said, Michael's a great neighbor. I've never heard him cuss at anybody about anything, but I'm not going to say that she's not telling the truth, but I think he's a good person. His wife's a good lady. They have a good business. As far as the scenery, I don't have a picture of it, but if I look out the back of my house, I think it's just the way that a house is built on a cul-de-sac. All I can see is the back end of somebody else's garage, and it's not quite as big as Michael's building, but I think that's just the effects of the way the house is built on a cul-de-sac. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. All right, I'm gonna close public hearing. Does the board have any questions or motions or anything?
I'm gonna make the same motion that I made last time, that we grant the variance as written. It's very conducively built to the rest of the neighborhood. There are sheds in the neighborhood. It's the biggest thing for me is the length of time. If we were talking about something that was recently built, but it's been there 3 years,
Plus, 3 years plus.
plus, and the person who's most affected by the building has no objections to it.
Okay, do I hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. Yeah.
Just wanted to state something as written. May want to read how it's written. I don't know if that was the intent or not.
Okay, how many feet are this building from the side yard?
2 feet.
Okay, so he needs 3 foot on the side.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And how far is it from the rear?
Let's see.
He said he was gonna move. He said
We do not have to vote on this again because we've already
Sure.
voted on it.
Yes, sir.
She's re-clarifying.
I think it's 11 feet, right?
It's 11 feet from the rear, and we have a 20-foot setback?
Okay, so it's 9 feet. It's 9 feet from the rear.
It's 9 foot
Says
from the
it's
rear.
120
What's the rear setback?
20 feet.
20, so it's 11.
Okay, 3 foot from the side yard and 11 feet from the rear.
Well, we've already voted on this, and it has been accepted, as she quoted before. This is just a statement or a reinstatement of what she made a motion to and was
In
seconded.
November.
Okay.
Lindsay, you want the motion redone? She said as written. She said as written was what was voted on.
And is that not accurate? I mean, is that?
Well,
Well, the-
Lance
just
is saying,
restated.
Lance is saying that what's written isn't accurate.
What's written is that I accepted it at the time due that he was gonna move the structure from the rear setback, but he was gonna keep the structure on the side.
Okay,
That was originally. And then at that point, the motion was that he could keep his shed located where it is.
Where it is now without
Where it
any
is now.
movement at
Right.
all.
Right.
Right. So,
And what she stated was that she's reiterating on
That's
the
fine.
motion that was done in November.
fine.
Is that correct?
if that's what it is, yes, sir, but if she
Okay,
said
and-
as written, I just wanted to make sure that it was,
Okay, so she's
okay.
re-clarifying.
Do you want me to restate it?
I would check with
Legal.
legal.
I mean, obviously, the first part of the motion, I don't think it's something you're considering tonight. I think the motion was to allow him to leave the shed as it is now.
Correct.
So if you want to be clear, you might withdraw the motion and say that.
Okay, I withdraw the motion.
All right.
And I'm going to make another motion that Mr. Jetty be allowed to leave the building as it is, give him a 3-foot side yard setback, and a 11-foot variance on the rear setback.
All right, okay, there's a motion.
With no modifications to the building, right?
With no modifications to the building.
Paul second it. All those in favor of the new motion, which is a 3-foot side variance and an 11-foot rear variance, keeping the shed as it is located. All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed? Motion passes. All right. Next zoning review ID 2134.11, Lot B-7-C-2-A of Ronald M. Sylvester, property for Lyle Lejeune, located on the north side of Henry Road, approximately 300 feet east of Ronnie Road. Is the applicant here tonight? Please come up and explain what you're planning on doing tonight.
Just put that on there. Okay. What it is, we purchased a lot on Henry Road from Mr. Sylvester, and looking at, I don't know if you can see, it's not large enough, but in the front of the lot is flood zone A is about the first half of the lot, and the back half of the lot is flood zone X. Another thing, it's an 1.5 acre lot, but the majority of the lot is unusable due to the variance you have to give on the power lines, because of those are high-powered lines. It's 75 feet on each side. So basically, it cuts off about that much of your, the property. So as you can see, back in here is about the only place that you can build for the house. And we shot the elevation, and being that it has to be at the 22 feet, we're going to have to compact, and they're starting to do the dirt right now, which is 2 feet up, and then I believe it's 1 foot of freeboard or something for the slab. But anyway, and as you can tell by the flood zone X and flood zone A, the land slants down towards Henry Road, which is in the front here. So we're asking for the variance in the back on the building line so we can get the house built in flood zone X, and we're looking at a pool in that back, getting closer to that line, and then a garage storage area on the back side there as well.
Okay, what is in the property right behind that you're getting close to?
This is Mr. Sylvester's, it was listed as farmland, but what you can see as well is if you look at that power line that runs down here, when you go the 75 feet, you're looking at like this line here. So you can see directly behind where the end of my property would be, there couldn't be anything built anyway right behind there because of that 75 feet off of the power line.
So right now it's just pasture? Or?
Yeah, it's all pasture.
Okay.
It's, I don't know how many acres? About 4 acres back there.
Okay. Does any of the board members have questions?
What's on B7C-1?
That's a house off to the left, at the corner of Ronnie, what is it, Ronnie Road? And, yeah, Ronnie Road and Henry Road. That's a corner lot.
But you're not requesting any kind of variance
No,
along
not
that
to that
side?
side, no.
Okay.
No, that has the, 12-foot servitude on that side.
Any other questions?
No, I have
The
none.
man's probably really nervous after the last shed we just did, okay? Okay, I'm opening it up for public hearing. Just give us a sec. If anybody has anything to say for or against this variance, please come up front and sign in.
No, there's power lines over on this side. It's better to look at over here.
I'm Ronald Sylvester. I sold the lot to Mr. Lejeune.
Got you.
And my understanding with the power line, it's 150 feet from the center of the two lines out. It's not actually 75 feet from the outside line.
Oh, okay.
And I'm planning on selling the lot right behind the two lots that are there now. But I haven't decided how deep I'm gonna go. But in between the lot I sold him and the lot on the side, I left a utility servitude. I just want to make sure that I keep that utility servitude because I don't have access to water on that lot.
Just for comment, what we can't revoke a utility servitude, so only the council can do that. We can only allow in building lines, but servitudes have to stay there. Okay. Any other comments, concerns? All right, gonna close public hearing. Do I hear questions, motions?
Well, again, I'm, a couple things.
I gotta write this now, so keep them short.
Okay. I'm going to, deny what I'm reading here, and that's the reason why I asked you about the power lines, is that I would like to go ahead and give him like 20 feet there in the back. Let me find my notes here. Just a moment, please, sir.
Current variance being requested is 15 feet.
15 feet.
How big is the shed you're building?
You can come back up. They'll ask you a question.
Yeah,
Is it a carport or a shed?
This would be like a
Yeah.
carport storage.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
How big is it?
that we hadn't decided. I'm getting with the builder right now. We got a contract for the house right now. And I'm
Okay.
having to look at doing
So
that
I
as
guess
well.
what I'm asking is, where did you come up with the 15 feet?
Yeah, if you don't know the size of it.
Oh, because we were looking at seeing how, because when we build the house, I don't
Is the
have a
house
layout.
built
I don't have a
already?
layout of the
No.
house. They're putting the dirt pad right now.
Okay.
On it. And when you look back, when you go behind it, I want to say there's only like 40 or 50 feet, maybe 50 feet back to the actual property line.
Property line.
And we were planning on putting a pool and then the garage storage area off to the left, right next to the utility servitude.
Now, is that going to be the same construction as your home, or?
I think he's going to use like yeah, because some of the houses use that hardy board and some of it is the brick. And I think he's going to do that with the hardy board. So, but yeah, basically, yeah.
I mean, also, y'all keep in
I
mind.
mean, we haven't decided exactly what,
Yeah.
what we're
Right.
going to use to build it, but.
Well, that's,
Right.
that's what's bothering me. See,
But also, y'all keep in mind, you not only have the flood zone going through here, you also have 2 power lines going through here. So it's not like, I understand y'all concerns, but he really can't use the whole piece of the property. And that's
Well, I
usually
understand
the
that.
one thing that we're looking at for hardship is, can he use all of his property, yes or no?
No, he can't.
And so,
so he's requesting just the 15 feet.
correct,
Well,
from the back, yeah.
In the back, not from
And
the
that's
power
it.
line.
And no side yard.
Yeah.
Is that- oh, That's it. Okay.
I make a motion to approve or accept.
I'll second it.
As written.
I'll second you.
I got a motion by Mr. Jim Cecil to approve as written, second by Ms. Kathy Desdeer. All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
It's different than
All right, our last zoning review ID, 2135.11, Lot 6, Riverbend Development, Phase 1, first filing for Charles and Tiffany Tanner, located on the south side of Homeport Drive, approximately 10,100 feet east of LA Highway 22. Is the applicant here?
Not really, my husband's not here, he's working nights, and I don't have this big, long speech. All
Why
I
don't you just tell us
can,
what you're trying to do?
he's trying to build a shed. And
No
he got
shed.
a garage, it's gonna be brick on the front, I think siding on the sides, I think, don't quote me on that. And he wants to build it 5 feet from the property line, and he did get a variance from our neighbors. And
Well,
And he
And
said
then-
he submitted a drawing, and he did get a, yeah, and he has a
Yeah,
letter,
he did.
a certified letter from the
the
neighbors.
neighbor can't grant
You
a
got the letter?
variance.
It's in the packet? Okay.
yeah, you got a copy of it.
That's it, okay. I don't have anything.
Okay.
Okay, my question is, this is how large is your house? Because the shed almost looks like the size of the house. So I guess that's what I'm asking is, how big is the house?
I brought my daddy for backup. How big is the house, Daddy? I mean,
Okay, it's 2-story?
yes.
Okay.
Oh,
And,
You have, is this one the one cut off that we're looking
Yeah.
at?
Yeah, it's cut off.
but it's like 1,800 square feet
So it's-
in the building.
It's just
The
big,
garage?
it's
Uh-huh.
huge, yeah.
Yes, it's a big garage.
I mean,
And what will the usage of this garage be?
He's got a lot of toys. He wants to put his, we have boat trailers in the yard right now. He wants to pick that up and put it in the garage. Yeah, he has a party barge, the trailer's in the yard. Yeah, we have a little center console boat.
right?
Put the lawnmower in there, four-wheeler.
This is the garage.
And there is not going to be any heated and cooled living space in it?
Oh, no, no, no,
Okay.
no. I'm not saying he's not gonna put heat in it, but nobody's gonna live in there.
Mm-hmm.
He might put a little, heat, because he did talk about that.
Yeah.
But nobody's gonna live in the shed.
So the hardship is no storage for the boat trailers?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, there's nothing been built yet. Is that correct?
No, nothing's been built yet. I mean, we're living in the house, but he wants to
Well,
put
that's
a
what I'm saying.
shed.
There's
Oh,
no
the house
slab
has
been
already been
poured, there's
built.
no.
Oh, yeah, we're living in
There's
the
no
house.
framework up on this building at
No,
all?
no, no.
Okay.
What's adjacent? What would be the closest thing to this building as far as on your neighbors?
They haven't built yet. It's an
It's
empty
an empty lot.
It's an empty lot.
Yes,
Um,
but
the
it's,
people that own that empty lot, is that the same ones for this letter?
yes.
Yes, Coselli's or something. Right.
What would the normal setback be?
10,
10.
and he's asking for 5.
He's asking for a 5-foot variance.
Well,
Come in 5 feet.
This is not, did they see this?
Just a second.
It went
Damn
up?
slow
Okay.
tonight.
I didn't see it.
Damn it.
Any other questions from board members?
Where would the driveway for the proposed garage, would it be on the side, the 60-foot length or the 30-foot length? Yeah,
I would think it would be coming,
you would think.
I'm not gonna, I would think the 30. I would think the 30 from the road.
Straight in from the road?
Yeah, to back up the boat or the trailer or whatever.
Okay.
Is there anybody else?
Okay.
I don't have any further questions.
All right. I have to open. Okay. Give us a sec. We'll open it up for public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's not much.
Open up for a public hearing. Does anybody have anything to say for or against?
They had a sign in their yard too, and they live down the street. Apparently, they didn't make the,
We moved that.
because I thought they were.
Oh, you moved
coming here
it
for me.
to next
Yes.
month or something?
No, it was put in the wrong place, and I went out the next day and moved it. So we met the deadline and everything, so we're good there. I just got a phone call and reference saying that the sign was somewhere, so when I went and looked for it, it was about 3 or 4 lots up. So I picked it up and put it in the right spot.
So whoever delivered signs this month didn't do so good of a job?
Let's don't comment on that.
Yeah, I ain't saying no comments from the last meeting. Got me in trouble, so I just
Yeah, you gotta be
gonna
careful.
keep quiet. All right. Since there's nobody else in the audience tonight, we'll close public hearing. Do I hear a motion or a comments, suggestions, or questions?
Well, I normally have problems with buildings of this size. So I'm going to say that I would approve it and give them the 5 yards,
Feet.
5
Feet.
feet,
5 feet.
with the stipulation that the building be built in the same or similar construction as the home. So a quality construction on the exterior.
Well, they have brick on the front and the back, the same type of brick.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we don't have an 1,800-foot steel building out there. So, you know, the hardy plank, the shingles, the brick, that's fine. But I'm just trying to make sure that we don't have a large metal building or something that's not conducive with the rest of the neighborhood.
I like metal buildings. That's all I got.
All right. Got a motion by Kathy, second by Paul, to approve the 5-foot variance with the stipulation that the shed is built in the same manner and construction as the house. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
I oppose.
Motion pass.
Be that way.
Okay. All righty. And that's, would be the end. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I second it.
All right, motion by Ms. Kathy Deser, second by Mr. Jim Cecil. All those in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
We adjourned.